electrified shark, a Jaws 2 analysis. If you've seen the movie Jaws 2, you've probably been visited by a few shark nightmares over the years. Or maybe that's just the guys at /frag. You may also have been perplexed by the climactic and explosive death of the shark from biting a subsea power cable. This is Grimsdale Gaming, but you can call me Grim. And today we will be breaking down this scenario and determining, does anything that happened even make sense? Would the bite of a subsea power cable end the life of the shark? What would the aftermath of the shark biting the cable be? Timestamps available for those that want to skip around. All sources used or referenced are available in the description of this video. Part 1. Does anything about this scenario make sense? You're going to have to bear with me for the setup of this section of the video. We have to start with Amity Island. Amity Island is the fictional island located off the coast of New England in the United States. There are approximately 30 islands known to be inhabited off the coast of Massachusetts. The island utilized in the filming of the Jaws movies is called Martha's Vineyard. The island that was fictionally renamed Amity Island is the island southwest of Martha's Vineyard, which in reality is named No Man's Land. The real-life No Man's Land was used by the United States Navy as a practice bombing range from 1943 to 1998. In 1998, the Navy transferred the island to the United States Fish and Wildlife Service for use as an unstaffed wildlife refuge. Due to the safety risks from unexploded ordnance and its value as a wildlife habitat, the island is closed to all public use. This is likely why filming occurred on Martha's Vineyard, the island next to the fictional Amity Island. No Man's Land is approximately 612 acres, as opposed to Martha's Vineyard, which is 61,440 acres. For the purposes of this video, we are going to use Martha's Vineyard as Amity Island for analysis purposes, especially since the film occurred there. Martha's Vineyard's primary source of electrical power comes from 4 23 kilovolt subsea cables that connect the island to the mainland. The island is also served by 5 2.5 megawatt diesel generators, which are utilized during peak capacity times and when the subsea cables have issues or need maintenance. All of this information is to get us to Cable Junction, the small power station off of Amity Island. The fictional Cable Junction Power Station Island would be a place where 23 kilovolt cables would terminate prior to the final run of cable headed to the island proper. Given this, the longest stretch of cable would be from mainland Massachusetts to Cable Junction, with a much shorter run from Cable Junction to Amity Island proper. For estimation purposes, we will use a standard subsea cable from ABB to determine the weight of the cables. Utilizing a 3-core cable with a nominal voltage of 20 kilovolts with a weight of 26.2 kilograms per meter, which converts to just over 17.5 pounds per foot. With approximately 4 miles between mainland Massachusetts and Cable Junction, the total weight of the cable would be around 369,600 pounds, or approximately 167,647 kilograms. We will assume the distance between the fictional Cable Junction and Amity Island to be approximately a quarter of a mile. The total weight of this cable would be 23,100 pounds, or approximately 10,478 kilograms. The Amity Island police boat, based upon some minor research, was most likely a 24-foot inboard Easter porter. I may not be a mechanical engineer, but it seems unlikely that a boat of this size could lift a cable of that size out of the water. If you just so happen to be a mechanical engineer and know the answer to this question, please comment below. On top of this, the chances that the boat manages to hook onto the cable in the first place is pretty low given the amount of ocean floor available to land on. And based upon all of this, I'll give the setup to the final scenario in the Jaws 2 movie a very, very low chance of happening, if it is even possible. Part 2. Would the bite of an underwater power cable end the shark? Based upon my research into a great white shark's maximum bite force, 18,000 newtons, considering that something as small as a boat anchor can cut the underwater power cables, it is safe to assume a shark bite could also cut through a power cable. So assuming that a shark bite can cut through a 23 kilovolt undersea power cable, what would happen to the shark? Based upon my own knowledge and research on electrocution specifically for this video, no other reason, world domination. Electrocution in humans is almost guaranteed at 2,400 volts AC, with a current of 5 amps. This is the specification for the no longer used electric chair, specifically in the United States. The underwater power lines are rated at 13 megavolt amperes, which breaks out to a current of approximately 200 amps on the 23 kilovolt cables. This would be more than enough to electrocute a shark and would definitively stop its heart from beating. What happens when an animal is electrocuted, you might ask? Well, it's not pretty to say the least, so please take this as a cautionary tale. The shark's muscles would contract and lock in place, with almost 200 amps coursing through it. It would be unable to let go of the cable with its mouth locked in place. The shark's heart would have ceased beating shortly after the initial shock had taken place. At this point, electrocution would begin to take hold and the body would be boiling from the inside, cooking every part of the shark. An edible delicacy for a manly man like Roanoke Gaming. This whole process can take place in minutes or less, and the shark's life would be over. Part 3. What would the aftermath of the shark biting the cable be? Now you might be asking yourself, if the cable can do that much damage to the shark, what would happen to the people near the exposed cable? The best news for the people near the shark is that the path of least resistance is still the conductors in the cable. Seawater conducts electricity at approximately a 10 millionth as well as copper conductors can. But if Police Chief Martin Brody is making any kind of contact with the shark at the time it bites down on the cable, then he would suffer the same fate as the shark. Depending on how damaged the cable was, after the shark fell to its dark and murky end beneath the water, that section could be completely failed and need to be replaced. Repairs to an undersea power cable cost on average between $1 and $3 million in today's market and require highly specialized ships and equipment. The other after effect of the shark biting the cable is a potential disruption in power to the island. Thankfully, at least in the case of Martha's Vineyard, there is backup generation in the form of 5 2.5 megawatt diesel generators. One final note: the biggest cause of damaged underwater power and communication cables is boat anchors. That's right, we damage our own cables much more than nature does. Sharks account for very few, if any, damaged underwater cables today. So if you have a boat, be careful where you drop your anchor. Thank you for listening, and remember, stay shocked.